Hey, I'm just going to do a quick video. It reminded me, I was listening to something on YouTube. I normally listen to the Matthew M YouTube. It's like motivational stuff before training. Just kind of puts my mind into a good place before I train. And I was watching his Prove Them Wrong video, and it made me think. I had a client come down to me yesterday. One of my friends who I'm prepping for a show. Again, as I said, I'm not doing too much contest prep anymore. It's not the route that I'm down anymore. I'm not no plans to compete myself, so it's not the area of the industry I want to be in. But I still prep a couple of my friends. But it's funny because his whole drive for his entire prep, his entire transformation, that wait you fucking guys see his before and after, it was down to somebody telling him he couldn't do something. He was with a coach, I'm not going to mention his name, very high profile guy, who told him, who literally dropped him as a client for questioning his methods. He asked him, I can't remember why he was doing something, and he flipped and dropped him and told him that he's a shit physique and he'll never get on stage and he'll never do it. He's shit genetics and he'll never do it. So it's so funny because my client, my friend, has been using this guy as his motivation. I remember the day we met, the day he came down to me, he was very, very broken in his talk and everything because his confidence was shot. And now he looks fucking amazing. You know, like he's got legs that are just striating through. He's got abs for the first time. You know, he looks amazing. But it just goes to show when you can use what other people have said to you as motivation and fuel, it can fucking make you an amazing person. It can make you do amazing things. I've talked about my story before. You know, anyone's followed me long enough, you know that I've been, you know, I was a primary school teacher. I left a great career, you know, from what the outside sees a great career in terms of good holidays, good pay, well-respected job. And I was called an idiot and a fool by family and friends. Both were like, you're a fucking idiot. It's so funny because I loved teaching. You know, I answered that on my Snapchat last week why he left, and I loved it, but it was a job. You know, I knew it was a Monday to Friday. I knew I was getting up for work, where I have now what I call a non-job, where, you know, my life and my business and my work is all integrated into one. I can't see where one starts and the other ends, because I love what I do. But a lot of the motivation for me to keep going, because there was a time when I had no money. You know, I've talked about that before too, when your business is struggling, when you're starting off and you just want to quit and you just want to go back and do what's familiar and do what's, you know, the easy option. But there's no growth in that. You know, you're not, the reality is that some of the greatest things you ever achieve in your life come just short of when you've had a massive failure. You push past it, and that's when you've achieved the great things. I talk about it all the time, the thoughts become things. You know, I listened to one of my favorite audio books. It's As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. One of my favorites, and he literally says that a man or woman, your thoughts become your things. What you think about most of the time is who you become. If you can use the negatives and the shit that people have said, if people have told you you can't do something, if you can fucking use that as motivation on those, I told this guy that I'm prepping, I was like, you remember what he fucking said to you. I was like, when you're fucking sitting under a leg press or sitting under a squat rack and you don't want to do your fucking reps, or when you want to have a chocolate bar or have this or have that, when you need to be on stage on a certain date, I was like, you fucking remember what he said, you know, and you use that. You know, I've did it myself. There was mornings when I was getting up at 5 a.m. just to take a client at 6, and I might not have anyone for the rest of the day, but I'm like, I need to keep these clients. You know, that's how it was when I started off, because that's how business is when you start off. And I remember thinking, people told me I couldn't do this. So you fucking use that, you know, use that as fuel. You know, no one wants to get up at fucking 4:30 or 5 o'clock in the morning, you know, but you got to use the fuel. You got to take it where it's from. You know, if you can use those obstacles and those negative emotions as stepping stones, you are going to be on the path to success, because you're going to go through your whole life and people are going to tell you you can't do something. You know, I was told, again, I'm not saying this to brag or be ego, because it's irrelevant. It's the path that was created for me. But I was told, I've competed all around the world. I've done photo shoots all around the world as an international fitness model. I told people at 16 that's what I was going to do. I was like, this is where I'm going to go. And I got told, that's stupid. That's unrealistic, and you're being stupid. Because I grew up in a country with, you know, a countryside village with 200-300 people. There was 80 people in my secondary school and my high school. You know, people said it's stupid, it's unrealistic, and you can't do it. And I fucking did it. You remember that. I remember sitting in, and I remember this like it was yesterday. I remember doing my postgraduate in teaching, and I remember sitting at a table with about 20 of us from the class, and something came up about, because I was eating my lunchbox. I was in the back of a bar. We went for drinks, and I pulled out my chicken and broccoli. And I remember a guy there, really insecure guy, clearly now looking back, but asked me, he was like, "Oh, what have you got there?" I was like, "Oh, chicken and broccoli." He was like, "Oh, why are you eating that?" I was like, "Because it was the kind of food I like to eat." He was, "Why?" And I was like, "Oh, well," I said, "I actually really want to look like a fitness model or do something like that in the future." And he's like, "You can't fucking do that." He goes, he's looking at me going, "You can't do that." He goes, you're a teacher." He goes, "You're from Ireland." He goes, "You're not going to be able to go up on stage and be a fitness model." And I remember there was about 20 people, and there was just like stunned silence, because he went at me. And I was like, "Okay, I'll leave it." Fucking lo and behold, 2 years later, it's one of those things that there was times when I was prepping for the Worlds last year in Las Vegas, when I remember there was time that I felt like crying. I was so depleted. I was so tired. I was so run down. And I remember his fucking words, "You can't, you can't, you can't." That shit pushes you through fucking workouts. That shit gets you out of bed in the morning. That shit is what's going to fucking make you a success. So use the things that people say to you. Use the negative emotions. Use the negative experiences. And go do your fucking thing. Nobody has the fucking right to tell you you can't do something. Because you can do whatever the fuck you want to do. If you're willing to work hard enough, surround yourself with the right people, and surround yourself with people who can get you there, you can achieve anything. You fucking set the target, you reverse engineer it, and you work backwards. And you can achieve fucking anything. I'm absolute testament to that. Not saying it to brag, not saying it to be an egotistical wanker. I'm basically saying it because you can do whatever the fuck you want to do. You know, nobody has the right to stop you if you're willing to work hard enough for something. So take that. Don't care what it is, whether it's a physique, whether it's to get up on stage, whether it's to set up your own business, whether it's to have a better life, get into education, whatever it is, you could go do whatever you want to do. People are going to fucking hate you all the way along the way anyway. Just go do your thing. You know, go do you.